I mean, honestly, guys, like, talk with me for a second here. What do you do? I know that right now I'm sitting in front of the room and you guys are sitting like, in chairs in the room. But this was not the case most of my life. Like, how do you even begin to respond to a problem like this? How do you even begin to start? I had no idea what to do, so I just wrote. I just wrote and I wrote and I wrote and I wrote. And I'd go to parties and I would just scream at people. Like, kids are dying right now. This is happening and it's real. I mean, 6.9 million people have died in the Congo. 6.9 million people. Are you kidding me? That's larger than the Holocaust. That's 1,500 people dying every single day. That's 1,200 women being raped every single month. And it's happening right now. Like right now, right now, right now, right now. As we live, as we breathe, as we sit here in this room, this is happening right now. It's real. Whether we choose to acknowledge it or not, it's happening and it's right now. Eventually people just stop inviting me back. You know, like who wants to hang out with that kid? In the midst of my craziness, I was sleeping with my best friend Marcus. Marcus from Philly. I was sleeping on his couch and surviving off this ramen. And he came to me one night with an old vintage whistle he bought off eBay. And he put it around my neck. He said, no matter where you go, keep those boys alive in your heart. Keep them at the forefront of this fight. And all of a sudden, I could go to parties and I didn't have to yell at anybody. Because everywhere we'd go, people would ask, what's the whistle? We got to speak up in a way that made sense. In a way that brought people together instead of pushed people apart. In a way that elevated the conversation instead of destroyed it. We started saying, make their weapon, your voice, be a whistleblower for peace. And literally just hustling whistles out of our pockets. This was our first day in our first office. I was like the Timex guy, like, which one do you want? And just like, putting them on people's necks. Go and speak for peace. 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 This is our first day in our first office. We had a bucket. And we were just demanding more of the world. We started studying old whistleblowers. People who had said what needed to be said long before they knew the answers or the solutions. They said it because it was right. They gave their lives to it. People who would ruthlessly pursue the world as it could be, rather than the world as it is. And we wondered if we could do the same thing. I mean, honestly, y'all, we sat in that room on a bucket, and we wondered, do we live in a moment in history capable of this kind of change? Do we live amongst a generation that has the kind of focus and discipline and conviction to solve the problems facing it? Generations of men and women who have died so that you and I can be free. So we can say as we wish and think as we wish and do as we wish. We wonder if we would ever be willing to do the same thing for others. It became our symbol of protest. We pursued solutions in a region where they're in short supply. And it worked. That was the craziest part for us. People started wearing it. They wore it, and they wore it. I love her. She's amazing. They wore it, and they wore it, and they wore it. And everywhere they go, new conversations. Coffee shops, and parties, and concerts, and sporting events. What's the whistle? It's for peace in Congo. What's happening in Congo? Biggest war in our world. Really? Yeah, you want to know about it? Yeah. New conversations. And it went out, and it went out, and it went out. Where did it go? What's the whistle? It's peace in Congo. It's happening in Congo. Biggest war in our world. Really? Yeah. You want to know about it? Yeah, and the Falling Whistles campaign was born. Campaign for peace in Congo. We had $5 to start, and we bought 5 crappy whistles, and we sold those, and we had $50. And then we sold those, and we had $150. That was all the money that we had in the whole world, and we knew we could reach the whole world. And so Dave hitchhiked. He hitchhiked from Austin to New York City. And he stopped in every single city, 40 cities in 4 months. And he stopped in every city. He sat down in living rooms and coffee shops, just like this. And he said, we don't have all the answers. We actually don't have any. But 6 million people have died, and we're not going to be quiet, and we see it change. Join us. Built the coalition from scratch. got picked up by an ex-convict in Tennessee, got picked up by a guy in Philly who bought him a jacket and a pair of shoes because all he had was a hoodie and a pair of Toms on. This guy John, Brad calling whistles on his iPhone while he was going to the bathroom, sold his company a week later, packed his car, and moved out to LA to run finances for free. We had 3 college students, kids your age, ride their bikes from Florida to San Diego, stopping in every city and saying the same thing. We don't have all the answers. 6 million people die, we're not going to be quiet when we see a change. Join us. Marcus slept out of an attic to do design work for free. That's why we have a website. If you like it, I'm so glad. If you don't, I don't give a shit. It cost us $0 and it works. Like, we pulled desks out of dumpsters, threw them in our garage, and we pulled as many young people as we could possibly find. We've had over 40 young people come from all over North America, sleep in bunk beds, and work out of our crappy little garage, demanding more of our world. People like Jen. She's outside. She came from Phoenix. She graduated college. She had no idea what she wanted to do in the world. She just knew she had a lot of heart to offer. So she came out. She said, we said, what do you love? She said, I love music. We said, okay, you're in charge of musicians. We just drowned her in work. She drowned for 2 weeks, came back swinging, put it on her desk, and it's done. She said, okay. Drowned her again. She came back 2 weeks later, it's done. Okay. Jen can make things happen. 5.5 months later, she now runs artist relations and events for the entire campaign globally. Traveling the country. People like Ad, an aerospace engineer from India. His job is to just fix shit. Anything that goes wrong, he makes it solved. He drives while we're asleep, serves us in the best way he knows how. Eve, a former refugee, now traveling the country, fighting for his people. People like write history books about people like Eve. We have made so many mistakes. We have screwed up so many things I can't even begin to tell you. For every success, we've had 100 failures. What we do now is we sell the whistle with the original journal. Sort of woke me up and woke so many of us up. We sell it inside Tools of War. This is a Rockefeller grenade case. We whitewash over everything to reflect the way the West has whitewashed over these problems historically instead of getting the root causes. We build museums inside stores. This is a store right down the street from us. We went to them, we said, hey, my friend was a carpenter, we're like, we want to build a museum. We got a bunch of wood from a fence that was being torn down, and we built the whole thing. It cost us like $200. And in 3 months, it educated 20,000 people about the conflict, raised enough money for us to start rehabilitating 200 kids inside the region, and raised enough money to keep Fred Siegel alive in the middle of a recession. Michael Siegel said we're the reason they didn't go under. And so you're investing in the local business owner and giving them financial incentive to educate the community and advocate for peace. Raising money so we can invest in local visionaries. So we found our model. Thank God, we screwed up a lot of things until this point. So we built these all over the country. We built light boxes, trying to illuminate stories that have been held in shadow for centuries. Built this one in Austin, all recycled materials, trying to take tools of war, turn them into tools of peace. Built this one in Portland, always very visual, very beautiful, educating people about the roots as well as the current day. Using the money to partner with local leaders to rehabilitate children. This was our first partnership that we had at work. Working with 267 children. The program is totally holistic. First takes them through art, music, dance, sports, basic nutrition, psychosocial support, base level education. I love her, she's such a wrench. But this is not about charity for us. It's not about guilt or pity or sadness. And if you feel those feelings, then I apologize. I've not done my job. For us, it's about solidarity. Standing side by side people and saying, we are with you. Till the boots are off your throat, and this war is ended, we are with you. So everything that we do on the ground is constantly envisioned, operated, and led. Kids will never know about falling whistles. They'll never know that we're having this conversation tonight. They'll just know they're getting the care they need from people who look and sound like them. On the first night in that military encampment, found out that 2 of the boys had fought for opposing rebel groups. One was fighting for the Hutu group, while the other was fighting for the Tutsi group, CBP. And I freaked out. I didn't know what that meant. You guys fought against each other. And I asked them, does that make you enemies? One of them looked over at the other one and he kissed him, and he said words that I'll never forget. So we are only boys. How can we be enemies?